So Ben is a multidisciplinary designer who is passionate about building experiences between brand and product. He's currently a design lead at Sprig. He worked with several startups previously across a variety of industries, including healthcare, telemedicine, and direct-to-consumer brands. Today, Ben will be talking about prototyping for a remote world. He will discuss practical ways to make prototypes work for your team and how to take action on the feedback you receive. Ben is joining us from San Diego, California. Please welcome Ben, everyone.
Awesome. Hey, everyone. Thank you, Peter, for that intro. Yeah, I live in San Diego. This is my, as Peter mentioned, I'm a product design lead at Sprig. This is my fiance and our dog in Joshua Tree last spring. It was one of the first trips we went on as COVID was kind of like unswelling and we were able to go on a little road trip. But yeah, so unfortunately, I'm not in Prague with you guys. I'm in California. Wish I could be there in person, but I guess we'll have to do. So before I get started, I'd love to kind of give you an overview of what I'll be going through, right? And so I'll start out with a quick about what is Sprig, who are we, what do we do as a company? Because I'm actually going to be taking you through the process of one of our recent projects. So I think it's important to have some context around what the company is, what the product does, because I'm going to be talking through some of our tooling and how we use it internally to do work as a design team. After that, I'll be going through the main topic of the talk, prototyping for a remote world, starting out with the context, and then again, going through the process of the project and finishing up with some takeaways. You can think about it in this way. I'll be like zooming way out to give an overview of the project, how we use different methods, and then I'll zoom in on those methods so that you are able to call them out and see them specifically as we use them. And then finally, I'll wrap things up and close things out, and we can do questions. Cool. So what is Sprig, right? Sprig is an all-in-one product research platform that delivers customer insights at the pace of modern product development. And so essentially at its core, you can launch a survey in your product at the exact moment that the customer is interacting with a feature or has the context that you may want to judge. And so, for example, let's say you launched a new feature that deals with budgeting, right? You can attach a Sprig survey to that page or to that feature, and the moment that the user interacts with it, you're able to capture all of that emotion and all of that feedback. So you're able to just really capture it raw. And so we know that our customers are working tirelessly to build products that exceed their customers' expectations, and our goal is to make that easier through asynchronous research, right? Through the use of these in-product studies. But we knew that product teams needed more to do this. They needed richer, deeper insights. And so we built out additional tooling through the way of asynchronous video interviews and the ability to embed a Figma prototype in your studies. And so, why do I talk about this? Why does this all matter, right? Why is asynchronous research and asynchronous prototyping important? In a distributed world, we're already fighting for people's attention and time enough as it is. And how can we as designers, researchers, et cetera, get our questions and test our concepts with our users so we can gather meaningful insights? And I think prototypes are a great way to do this. And at Sprig, we share prototypes all the time because we're a remote team. We're across several time zones in the US. We use prototypes as a way to get feedback cross-functionally. So you can think of them as replacing design reviews and design critiques at times. And so we also share prototypes every week at our all hands. So as designers, we'll share current work that we're working on, and we'll also send a survey or a study alongside of it to collect feedback. Again, sort of replacing that design critique or that design review. And so I think everyone agrees that prototypes are a great way to communicate ideas and gather feedback without actually having to build anything. At least speaking specifically about like design or Figma prototypes. But how can we make prototypes better? And so how might we create a system of meaningful, actionable feedback from our customers who are distributed, hard to schedule with? How do we take these prototypes that we're making and make them actually actionable in a real product environment? And to answer that, I'm going to walk through a recent project that we worked on where we knew that our customers were encountering a problem. And actually, not just our customers were encountering this problem, but we were encountering it internally as well, because we were using Sprig to collect feedback with our customers. And so, quick overview: this is the micro surveys page of the Sprig platform. And so this is where all of your in progress, completed, paused, or archived studies are currently living, right? And so if you want to go to find research that your team is running, this is where you go to find it. You're able to see the status of everything that you're collecting. And right now it's one page. And so all of the surveys that you've run in the past or present are exist here on this top level. And we were hearing things like, our team's launching too many, it's a mess, I can't find the survey that I'm looking for, and that we need a better way to organize this page. Right. And so it was just messy. It wasn't meeting their needs. And so because we were using this internally, we had some preconceived notions about how it should look. But we immediately got started designing out a foldering and organization structure to meet these needs. And because we wanted to build the best experience possible, we wanted to get this in front of people. But we had a short timeline, and the thought of scheduling interviews and going through the process of finding customers and conducting them was really daunting and seemed time consuming. Fortunately, we didn't have to do that because we have Sprig, right? We built this product that allows for asynchronous research. And so what we started with first was actually internal testing. And so, like I said, we had some preconceived notions, and we wanted to get some rough ideas in front of some folks on the team who we knew were experiencing this problem. So the marketing team, the customer success team who talks to customers all the time. We sent some really, really rough prototypes to them, 2 different versions, just to get some quick ideas out. And so here's where those first 2 versions. And so you can see like big yellow buttons to guide people through the prototype, meant to be really rough and fast. And so there's these tabs at the top to organize things in with folders, or maybe it's a drop down in this bottom version. And so we made this in a couple of minutes, sent it out, and we had feedback within an hour or 2 from around the team. And so we took those, and we got some great feedback, and we started iterating. We knew that those directions didn't stick as well as they could have, and so we did some brainstorming. We came up with 3 additional directions, and we wanted to show those to our customers. And so we wanted to test those internally again, because we wanted that follow-up based on the first prototype. But we also leaned on our customer success team to deliver it to customers who we knew were experiencing these pain points. And so we launched this study with a concept test, and it included a Figma prototype with 3 different prototypes to click through, along with a few questions, a video interview, and then 2 written questions asking people to indicate which option was their favorite. I'm going to zoom out here, and I'm going to take you through the concept test because I think it's cool to see, and I can call out some different methods. So like I said, there's 3 options. Option 1 is the micro surveys page with all of the surveys existing on this front page still, but it's sectioned off by the different folders. And so marketing, product, and customer success are each a folder, but you see all of the surveys within. And then option 2 kind of zooms out or zooms in a little bit more. And so you see the last 6 recently updated, sectioned off. And so you're able to see all of this, all the folders at the top level like this. And then option 3 is a little bit more of an abstract concept with these stacks. And so you actually see a lot less surveys, and maybe you can change the view and see the recent 3. But we really wanted to go with like the most extremes, and then one in the middle. And then as they were looking at these prototypes, they were also clicking through this survey down here. So you have this starting card setting the context of the survey, and then you have this video interview down here, which this is a video of me asking people to record themselves in the video below as they're clicking through the prototype above. And then they indicate which option would be their favorite, and then why they preferred it, right? And then they would submit it, and they would move on. And so the really nice thing about concept testing in this way is that while you're still able to gather some really strong insights, because you're doing things with like video interviews and open text questions, you're able to launch it asynchronously. So you're able to kind of like park it over there, collect feedback from your users, and move on to something else for a little bit while to collecting those insights. And then once those insights come back, they're automatically summarized and themed so that you can take action right away, right? And so we received over 40 responses. You can see that option 2 was the winner. And leveraging video transcriptions and things like open text analysis, we were able to go beyond which option people liked and rather why they liked option 2, right? And so things like they were able to clearly see more surveys, easier to see folders, and it was a good use of screen space. And so that was all, those themes were identified from the open text responses that people indicated in the survey. And so, you know, why did I walk you through this case study? Wasn't this about prototyping? And like, that's a valid question. But I wanted to give an idea about how we use prototypes in our workflow at Sprig, and so you can identify some of the different methods and ways that maybe we do things uniquely, because I can call things out next in this stage. And so first up, I think this is extremely common, and a lot of people know this, but set the stage for your users before they view the prototype, right? And so you can do this in your delivery method, whether it's on Slack or an email, or you can do it directly in the test itself. And so, you know, just set the stage, explain the situation, and establish the context for the user, because it'll help put them in the correct state of mind as they go through the test. Next up, we like to include a table of contents in any of our prototypes that include variants of the same flow, right? What we don't want this to be is multi-step, and so, or a sequential pattern, because we really want to keep things simple, and we want to keep this list to as few concepts as possible. But what this page does is it really helps the user identify the different flows that they may be testing, and then when they have to go and indicate which one is their favorite, it's easier for them to identify that. It also gives them a place to kind of take a moment and breathe before they enter a flow, so that they can collect themselves to deliver the best feedback. Next up, we want to make sure we're keeping our tasks and our prototypes simple, right? And so we found that delivering cross-platform flows or really complex prototypes in an asynchronous study isn't always the most productive, because you're not there to provide the context or clarity that you get with an in-person study. So just be simple, right? Like keep things really straightforward. Don't go beyond a whole lot of screens. Not only will this help prevent people from getting confused or stuck, but it'll also help you get cleaner feedback. And finally, be clear about the feedback that you're looking for. Again, you're not there in a live setting to be able to provide clarity or help guide people along. So just be clear about the responses and the feedback that you're looking for. We found that this is the best way to get results that are measurable and actionable. And so to summarize here, going back to this question, how might we create a system of meaningful and actionable feedback from our customers who are distributed and hard to schedule with? And I believe that by delivering consistent, contextual, and simplified prototypes to your users, you'll be able to collect the insights that make a difference in your product. Cool.
Thank you very much, Ben, for your talk. It was great. We do have some questions on Slido, so let's start with those. Ben, I think you can see them, right?
Yeah. Are you guys able to? Yeah, I can. Oh, there's an echo.
What about now?
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I can go through these.
Okay.
Right?
Great. Yeah. Go ahead.
This is my actual background. It's very real. I can see. I get a lot of oh no, they're gonna fall. I get a lot of comments on it though. So thanks for calling it out. I was before I joined Sprig. I did this. I had some time off, and so I wanted to build out the office a bit more. But yeah, thank you. Thanks for the comment. Was this done with A/B testing or preference tests? So this was a preference test using a Figma prototype, and so um, we sent those three options out with that table of contents and asked them to indicate their favorite. I hope that answered your question. I think that's what you meant.
Yeah, there are people nodding, so I guess
Okay.
yes. I do have a question from my side. Do you only use Figma prototypes, or do you use other tools as well?
We use Figma prototypes as much as we can. We do use code prototypes fairly regularly for things that are more complex. So one of our recent features with the video interview feature, or the concept test, it was a recent project that I worked on. Those are things a lot of the time, right, that it's hard to really imagine in Figma. You can only get so far visually, and so we actually did a lot of the design work once we had a working prototype in JavaScript with those as well. So it kind of just depends on the project. But I would say that when we're testing things with concept tests, we use Figma prototypes pretty regularly.
Okay, great. And then I have another question, and that would be how a designer could start incorporating Sprig into their toolkits. So, what would be
Yeah.
my first steps as a designer if I want to use Sprig?
So Sprig is free to use. So there is a free version, and there's a couple different platforms that you can launch surveys on. We have an SDK for web and mobile apps. So those are great if you can install it into your own app using JavaScript or Google Tag Manager. But we also have an email and link platform. And so if you're a designer, that's a great way to get started using Sprig. You can send concept tests and video questions with those platforms. And actually, with concept testing, you can't send it in the SDK because with the SDK, it appears in your product. So we wouldn't want people leaving that product unless it's intentional, right? And so you can link to a concept test if you want. But it's really easy to get started. Just go onto our website and sign up for a free account. We have a ton of templates that you can use to get started. Start by creating a micro survey, and concept test is under the audience tab for email and link surveys.
Awesome. Ben, thank you very much for the talk. It was great. Have a wonderful day.
Yeah, thank you so much.